What's up, Thrashers? Welcome to another episode of the Block Thrasher Daily Crypto Update, where we are simplifying crypto by shattering the complexities with news, commentary, analysis, and education. It is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, 10:47 a.m. here in the super wet Houston area. It rained like crazy last night. It was an intense rain and thunderstorm. Actually, a lot of fun. I sat out on the porch. We've got this big deck, actually, and just watched the lightning and the thunder and the storm. It was incredible. It was actually quite a bit of fun. Crazy weather down here. It's just unbelievable. But it is a stormy day in the cryptocurrency market as well. There is just blood everywhere, and it is painful, especially for people who are new to the space, especially people that came in and bought near some of the all-time highs. I can only imagine just the fear and just that feeling in your gut, that pit in the bottom of your stomach when you see your portfolio drop by 50, 60, 70, maybe even 90%. For those who are OGs who've been around for a long time, it's like no big deal, right? If you bought it into Bitcoin back at $3,000 or $4,000, or Ethereum at $250, or Cardano at 9 cents, it just doesn't have the same negative impact. Here's the thing. Here's what happens. This happens over and over and over again with the cryptocurrency market. Is we see it's volatile, so we see these significant rises and we go up to these all-time highs, and the institutions come in, the institutionals and the whales and the big hands, and they just dump, right? And then the retail people and the new people, they panic, right? And so what does it say? What's the saying, right? When everybody is panicking, when everybody is in fear, that's the time to be greedy. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it a couple times today because it's the most important takeaway. When everybody is fearful, that's the time to be greedy. Don't be greedy when everybody is exuberant. Don't be greedy when the market is at an all-time high. Be greedy when everybody is panicking, when everybody's fearing, when everybody's throwing in the towel, when everybody's giving up. Now look, are we at that point? For some, probably yes. Overall, no. Yes, the total market capitalization today is down to $1.7 trillion. Ouch! That's close to $1 trillion that has just been shaved off the market in 48 hours? It's intense. Now, continuing on with my point, I wanted to go on to another thought, which had to do with Musk. But before that, let's look at the big picture here, okay? Market cap is still $1.786 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is at 39.3%, and Ethereum dominance is at 18.2%. Ethereum gas prices are just off the charts, insane right now, 660 HwAYB. What does that mean? That means people are going nuts on the Ethereum blockchain, buying and selling. A lot probably of both happening, as what I'm talking about always occurs during this type of downturn. The small players, the new players, the weak hands, they go in and they sell. And the whales are happy to pick up more. And the institutions at this point pick up more. Now, we have already seen today that we have evidence. We don't have an absolute statement, but Elon Musk tweeted this morning that Tesla has diamond hands, right? Which, if you're new and don't know, means that Tesla is not selling their Bitcoin. Could there be manipulation going on? There always could be manipulation going on. It's still a small enough market that the big boys could come in and they could sell enough to create a panic dump and then come back in and buy more and more and more. And I will guarantee you that there will be stories in the next day or two that will show that chain analysis will show that the institutions and the big whales are buying this dip. And you should be doing the same thing. This is what we should be doing. Now, again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is my opinion. This is what I believe. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes. But look, we are already bouncing back. I'm just going to refresh here Bitcoin currently at $37,000, headed back towards 40, right? It hit a low somewhere around 30, down 30% on the week, down 8.7% in the last 24 hours, but up 10% in the last hour. Ethereum up 15.8% in the last hour. Now at $2,841.50. XRP up 12.7% in the last hour. This last hour, everything is in the green. Binance Coin up 10.7%. Cardano up 19.8%. Bouncing back, right? Cardano currently at $1.74. Cardano is actually only down 1.8% on the week. So it got hit just like everybody else in the last 24 hours. It dropped 26. Sorry, am I reading the right line there? 13%. Sorry, 13%. But Cardano was up so much that it is now only seeing a hit of 1.8% in this current market, in this current downtrend, where Bitcoin is down 30%, Ethereum is down 30%, Binance Coin is down 44% on the last 7 days. Cardano down 1%. Cardano faring through this, of the top 10 coins, the best because of its recent gains in the last couple of weeks. If you were holding Cardano, you're only down 1.8%. Everything else, you're down a minimum of 13.1 with XRP, all the way up to 44 being the biggest loser of the week, Binance Coin, right? Dogecoin is up 22% in the last hour, now at 41 cents. Polkadot up 17%, 29.82 in the last hour. Bitcoin Cash up 18.6. And if we scroll down, Polygon is the absolute outlier of the market, up 118% still in the last 7 days, up 3.5% in the last 24 hours, up 20% in the last hour. Polygon at $2.28 is not partaking. So there are places, if you are in the super solid, rock solid projects like Cardano, like Polygon, right? Even if you go into, say, a Solana, which is now up 19.8% in the last hour, still up 7.6% on the week. Do you see that? Do you see that? So what we're seeing here is the whole market suffers from what happens with Bitcoin. And the whales still primarily play in Bitcoin. And what's happening right now is what this article here talks about is more than 755,000 crypto traders were liquidated in one day. What does that mean? That means that the futures contracts that they took out, right, where they decided to long Bitcoin because they thought we were at a low, because what was it, a week or two ago, or in the last week, some point, we're down to 40,000, right? A lot of people thought, oh, that's it. It hit 40. It went down to 39, I think it was, something. All the technical analysis people were like, oh, yeah, it hit this level. And so a lot of people had this, okay, we're at the low, and I'm going to come in, and I'm going to long this sucker, and I'm going to go in and put a futures contract in. And guess what? They all got wrecked. And here's the takeaway lesson from that. Don't play that game. Don't play that game. You're going to get burned. It's the exception. It's the rare exception that somebody, and you know what? Oh man, I'm just telling you, just be careful with that. Unless you are in a position where you can lose significant amounts of money, you can take that level of risk because it's not going to affect you. You go in with a small position and you do some crazy margin trade on a futures contract that might give you some crazy returns. But look, you don't care. You don't care if you lose that $1,000 you're throwing in, or that $500, or that $10,000 that you're throwing in, because you've already got some, see what I'm saying? But if that's not you, if you're living like paycheck to paycheck, or you're barely getting by, or, it hurts when you see, don't play that game. Just don't play that game. Look at this. According to data provided by Bybit, more than 755,000 cryptocurrency traders have been liquidated over the past 24 hours. To put things into perspective, this equals the entire population of a major city like Seattle. A single QB trader lost $60 $47 million worth with one Bitcoin trade that went awry. The 12-hour liquidation volume is now nearing an eye-popping 7.84 billion. As expected, longs account for 88.6% of all positions that have been wiped out, gone, over the aforementioned time span. Ouch. Bitcoin's volatility kicked into high gear earlier today. The flagship cryptocurrency collapsed to 30,078 at 1:10 p.m. UTC on the Bitstamp exchange before soaring 25% and recovering to $37,430 in a span of 5 minutes. But you know what? For hodlers, not that big a deal. For people putting in long positions, ouch. They just got wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. Not good. Not good. That hurts. All right, word of the day. Moonshot. A very challenging and innovative project or undertaking. We see some of those happen in cryptocurrency, don't we? And this is such an exciting space to follow. That's why I love doing the daily crypto updates, and I hope you guys enjoy them as well. But there's so much that goes on between the regulation battle that's going on with XRP to where one day you haven't heard of a coin and boom, next thing you know, it's in the top 10, and the people that were early supporters of it just made an absolute killing, to all the craziness that goes on with the celebrities and their memes and their Twitter tweets and how this affects the market and all this sort of thing. And then the ongoing story, which is so much fun to watch, is this story of these institutionals and these celebrity types and these longtime traditional financial investors who have been flooding Bitcoin and talking it down and saying it's saying all these kinds of things, right? But slowly, one after one, they come on board. Now, of course, in this current downtrend, we're going to have the same kind of thing. The financial advisor types, Bitcoin lost 30% and Bitcoin lost nearly 50%, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it's funny how that, how everybody jumps on the bandwagon there and to talk about the death of Bitcoin and the death of crypto, et cetera, right? But when it goes up, in a couple of weeks, 50% or over its span, or it has in the past, well, that's just risky. That's just, okay. All right, fine. You want to keep the status quo. We get it. But we're seeing this adoption all over the place. And here's another story that illustrates what I'm talking about. Breaking news. Wells Fargo becomes latest banking giant to make foray into crypto. San Francisco headquartered banking giant Wells Fargo is set to add its own cryptocurrency strategy for wealthy clients by mid-June, according to Business Insider. Daryl Cronk, the president of Wells Fargo Investment Institute, claims that the bank now views crypto as a, quote, viable, investable asset. They said, "We think the cryptocurrency space has just kind of hit an evolution and maturation of its development that allows it now to be a viable, investable asset. As of now, Wells Fargo is in the final stages of doing due diligence for its crypto solution." JP Morgan, the largest U.S. bank, is also expected to introduce a Bitcoin fund this summer due to strong customer demand. Earlier this month, Goldman Sachs also announced the formation of a dedicated cryptocurrency trading team after relaunching its crypto desk earlier this month. So what do we have here? We have Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, and Goldman Sachs. All three. Three of the biggest banks. The biggest bank, JP Morgan Chase, and two of the other biggest. However, here's the catch. This is what they have said. Here's the catch. While they say it's a nice diversifier, it is for those investors who qualify and have an interest. For those investors who qualify. So in each of these cases, what they are doing is they're taking this attitude that's so pervasive in our culture and our society today, that we need to protect people. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier today. Don't get involved in futures trading if you don't have the means to suffer the losses that can and do so often occur. But you know what? It still should be your personal choice. If you want to go and risk everything and lose everything, more power to you. I mean, we're supposed to live in a free country, right? Without taking a great risk, you can't potentially have a great reward. Now that goes against what I just said. But see, here's the thing. We are the ones who are supposed to be responsible for our own decisions in that regard. And if we have the stomach to take that kind of risk and deal with the consequences of a bad decision, we should be able to do that. That's up to you. That is how it should be. Not this whole thing of, well, we have to protect you from, that's not right. Life is a risk. Entrepreneurialism is a risk. Hell, getting married is a risk. Everything's a risk. and we do the cost benefit analysis, and we decide, all right, I'm going to take this risk. And while I advise people and say, look, encourage people, like, don't, for me, I manage my risk, and I'm cautious. And there are things that I've seen friends will do in the crypto space that I'm thinking they're crazy, they're nuts, they're insane, I would never do that kind of thing. And sometimes it works out well for them. And other times it doesn't. But you know what? Same thing in the real estate market. I've had friends, especially back in the 2006, 7, 8 era, who were flipping houses and 20, 30, 40 houses at a time and leveraged to the hilt. I mean, for crying out loud, the entire great financial crisis of 2008 was caused by the institutions taking insane levels of risk that they should have never been allowed to take. But see, here's the thing. We live in this time now where it's okay for them because we're just going to bail them out because they're too big to fail. So they can take those risks and see insane profits and insane gains. But now these bad boys, your Wells Fargos and your JP Morgans and Morgan Stanleys, they want to be allowed to take those kinds of risks. Yeah, sure. But not you. Anyway, so on the one hand, it's exciting to see the adoption. It's exciting to see these banks coming in because there are a bunch of people that will then begin to invest because they somehow are under the impression that that's a safer route to go, right? Because they're part of the old guard, we'll say, right? So it will broaden the market, but then at the same time, it's like, it's not for you. Unless you're an accredited investor, unless you meet this criteria, then you can go ahead and invest in it. But that's the beauty of the cryptocurrency market is there's all kinds of onboarding methods and vehicles and mechanisms and exchanges out there in which you can get in. It's the beauty of, as much as I don't like Robinhood, of Robinhood or Webull or a lot of the crypto projects which are now working on bringing the things that were once only available to people with more means to the little guy. So that they can take it, even the fractional purchasing of stocks. And we're seeing synthetics start to come in. And we're seeing, so we're going to be talking about in this, when I finally get this Cardano ecosystem thing up, that there's a couple of projects out there where we're working with Cardano that do some really sweet things. One with where we're talking about synthetics, where you can purchase stocks like fractional portions of it. But there's also one that is going to be basically creating a blockchain-based, blockchain-driven Forex market where you can trade in currencies. The fiat currencies, the global fiat currencies around the world, but you can do it through a synthetic on the blockchain, and that's going to be really cool and super exciting too, because it can improve upon what was going on in that traditional market on the Forex exchange. So we'll take a look at that in a bit. But anyway, all right, friends, that wraps it up for today. I'm going to just conclude with that. Remember, it's not a time to panic. It's actually a great day. A great time to be in crypto. This is a great day to stack some crypto, to go out there. If you've been eyeing a project, hopefully you have some cash on the side. It's a great day to go and pick something up at a discounted price. I personally am convinced that this market will rebound here quite quickly. But again, it's not financial advice. I can't know this with any kind of certainty. I don't predict markets. I don't actually care about predicting markets. I don't care about technical analysis. I have a very simple strategy. buy things when they're cheap, and then hold. Done very, very well with this strategy, and I can assure you that you will do very well with that as well. Remember, when everybody is panicking, that's the time to get greedy. That's the time to stack, and then just hold and hodl, right? Until that time comes at which you've reached a level where your portfolio is where you want it to be, where it's life-changing enough to then sell off and do what you want to do, which for most people is creating long-term security. And then you can diversify into other assets that are going to be deflationary, or at least a hedge against inflation, whether it be gold and silver or property or even vehicles. Right now, used vehicles, old cars, especially trucks, are skyrocketing in value, and they're going to continue to skyrocket in value because what's happening right now is the governmental regulatory agencies around vehicles with their CAFE standards and everything are basically moving in a direction to make it impossible for the average person to be able to own a vehicle, especially a big vehicle that you can use if you're a contractor or you have a farm or you have property, you have land, or whatever, you want to pull a trailer, right? They're creating standards that are impossible to meet for the automakers, so they have to destroy the capabilities of the vehicles in order to meet gas mileage standards and etc. So the older trucks, the diesels from the, I don't care, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, that are not so laden with the computers and that have these big powerful engines that actually many of them get good mileage, decent mileage, are skyrocketing in price, right? So these are deflationary assets for that very reason alone. There's market forces, but there's also just demand is rising. Anyway, I hope you all have a phenomenal day. We're at that halfway point in the week. I hope the week's been going well. I'm really, really hoping that you have a phenomenal week for the rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Keep coming back. I will release that Cardano ecosystem podcast here in just a little bit. It's just been it's overwhelming. There's so much going on there, and I just want to bring it all to you guys so that you know what's going on, and you know opportunities are out there to pursue. Don't worry, you're not missing out on anything yet. There's plenty of time. I'll get that out to you ASAP. All right, appreciate and love you all. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye now.